Let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go! Let's go! Nothing's gonna stop us today. Get on the bus or get out the way. We're cruising with the radio on. So turn it up to 10. Here comes our favorite song. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Hello and Ramadan Mubarak to my Muslim friends and viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever, wherever you find yourself. Welcome to another episode of IoT Tuesday show. As you know it, it's just goodness of IoT, demystifying IoT, playing, unboxing, and learning some new stuff with IoT. As you know, we resumed our stream last week, and today we're continuing with the Wio Terminal. Now, we're going to see today how to do basics of, writing onto the LCD, changing the colors of the LCD, potentially maybe drawing some shapes, and then that will set us up into the next episode where we'll connect some sensors or use the hardware sensors that are on board. But before we do that, here is our intro. Yes, and welcome again. This is the IoT Tuesday show. If you like the show, if you're new to the show, kindly hit the subscribe button. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel. We are actually on a quest to get 10,000 subscribers by the end of this quarter. So please help us. It's free. And then make sure you hit the notification bell as well so that when I release any new videos, you would get it. Well, as you always know, we start with some announcements and then we're moving to what we have for the show. So the first off, as I earlier mentioned, Ramadan Mubarak to our Muslim friends. Happy celebrations. Wish you all the best. Um, the second thing on my list is the Ability Summit is up. Registrations are open. It's from May 5th to May 6th, 2021. Make sure you check that out. You subscribe. I'll be dropping the link in the description of this video and also on the show as we move on. Make sure you join that awesome content there. Then also Global Azure Bootcamp is up from the 15th to 17th of April. I will be sharing a session on IoT and beer, the never ending story, on the 17th of April. So make a date with me. I think if you it's going to be streamed live on my YouTube channel. So make sure that you subscribe so that once I go live, you get it. Now, I also want to talk to you about Azure Percept. If you haven't heard about it or don't know about it, it's kind of like a dev kit, a starter kit that Microsoft has put together with the secured MCUs and all that to help you move quickly from prototyping to production. Um, I actually have a kit on the way, the whole kit on the way. So we're going to do an in-depth unboxing and using it once it arrives. Till then, just keep your keep locked to the space, and you're going to learn more about Azure Percept. The last set of announcements, Tech on Wheels, which is my personal project to take technology to the deprived people in rural and deprived areas. So if you want to partner with us, we're doing things in the areas of robotics, in the areas of IoT, in the areas of programming, creative stuff, all the goodness in technology. So if you want to partner, if you want to sponsor, if you want to volunteer, kindly reach out to me on any of my social media handles, and I'll be really glad to bring you up onto the team. And also don't forget, if you have any event you want me to talk about, event you want me to share, kindly just drop me a DP, and hey, I'll make it happen on the show, at least reach a certain number of people. The other thing also is that if you have any content you want to share on the IoT show, please reach out to me. I will host you on the show. You can share it. because this show or this platform is all about sharing and learning. So if you have any content, reach out to me. To all of you that have connected on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and Periscope, you can just say hi so I can acknowledge your presence here. And then, yes, so Cryptic has actually begun. So, like I mentioned in my previous episodes, yeah, the show is behind. Keep a lookout. Something is popping up, and I'll actually be dropping hints as to what the code is. So if you watch till the end, you probably get the code for this episode, and then you can tweet at me with the code, and then hashtag IoT Tuesday and the code, and then you actually write what is that new thing which is on the shelf, and then you stand a chance of winning some kit from me. Right, with that said, what are we talking about today? So, today, let me flip back to our bench. We're talking about this little dude here. Yeah. So, in last week's episode, we actually connected this. Um, we connected it to our computer, the Arduino IDE, we downloaded the library, we did a very basic blink, which I'm not sure you can see, but it's blinking down here. Let me actually, Maxwell has joined us. If you look closely, you see there's a blue light blinking right about the other side. Yeah, that's the blink that we loaded onto it. But today we'll be taking a look at the LCD stuff. Maxwell, welcome. You have joined us for another episode. That is another awesome verse. So now, let's get into it. Let's take a look at what we did. And then today, we're talking about the LCD, right? I'll be talking about overview. We'll talk about some overview of the sensors that are on it. We'll take a look at the LCD, the dimensions, and then we'll take a look at some very basic concepts for you to understand when trying to use the LCD. I'll share that, and I mean, don't worry, we'll have some sketches here and there, and then we'll learn from that. So, without much ado, let's move this out of the way, and let's bring this in perspective. So, let me zoom this in. Yeah, so this is from SeeedStudio. If you're considering the price, it's actually $29.9. If you want to get some, hit me up. I can make that arrangement. I can make that happen. All right. So currently, as you see it here, so it has. I mentioned the other day two multifunction groove connector ports where you can actually connect groove sensors. All right, to it. We'll get to that, I think, in the next week's episode. We're going to see how to connect groove sensors to it, and also take information from the onboard sensors, which I'll show you today. So, and then also connected by USB Type C. You have you have here the 5-way switch, which is like a control knob, and then behind it, you have actually a 40-pin general purpose input output header, which actually allows you to connect it to the Raspberry Pi. All right, let me quickly show you something here on the bench. So if you look at it, if I flip it over, we have here, as you can see, this is the 40 GPIO pins right here. All right, now if I swing you around just a little here, and you look at the Raspberry Pi I have seated here, this is actually the 40 pin here, which I have connected to the Raspberry Pi. Now, this can actually, the Wio Terminal can actually be connected onto the Raspberry Pi. So we can connect it to the Raspberry Pi and then harness like the LCD, the sensors, and the extra groove ports that are on it. You can harness it. So potentially, I'll probably share that in maybe the last episode for this Wio's project, and then we can see that. But for today, we're sticking to this, right? So let's keep it here. All right, cool. So it has that, and then like I mentioned, you can connect it to you can connect the different sensors to it. There's actually also the opportunity for you to stack them on top of each other. So you can set up you can stack a couple of Wio's terminals and extend it as many times as you want. This is what I want us to take keynote of, yes, which is the GPIO pins on it. So you can see you have a set of 5 volts, which is pin 2 and pin 4. You have 3.3 volts, which is pin 1, and then you have all these other pins. So if you wanted to connect stuff to it directly, if you wanted to connect pins or sensors directly to the Wio terminal, that is how you would go about it. All right. So with that said, let's take a look at what we have on board. I think I shared this last week, but I'm just going over it again for the sakes of people that probably are joining but have not seen the full episode yet. So there is a light sensor, there is an IR sensor, um, which you can actually use to. There's actually a tutorial on their site where you can use this to control your TV. Once you read and know what the IR commands are, you can use that as well. There's an extension, SD card extension slot. There's a microphone and buzzer. It has, yeah, there's wireless also on it. There's also Bluetooth on that. I think it has a temperature and humidity sensor on that. So on the Wio terminal itself, there are all these embedded sensors. So you wouldn't need to connect an external sensor if it's already embedded. So you can actually use this to do a lot of prototypes. Sit it in place and it's done. However, if you want to connect some external sensors, like for instance a particle and dark sensor, a gas sensor, and all those things, those are not on board. So you have to connect that and use it as you want to. So this is what I wanted you to take note of before we jump into it. So let's bring out our Arduino IDE, and then let's move this over here. Today's wallpaper, kind courtesy Microsoft Bing. And yeah, don't hesitate if you have any questions. If you have any questions, just let me know. Hit me. Just put the questions in that, and then I would answer. I would answer it. Yeah. So let's open this. Let's see. Yeah, I think yeah. So this was the last. Let me actually make this a bit bigger that you can see. And we don't need this. Let's close this. Awesome. What else don't we need? I think yeah, we're okay with it. So yeah, so this is what we put on it. If you're familiar with Arduino stuff, you start with the setup and the loop. The setup is where you actually initialize everything about your project, right? Your pin, your input, output, devices, and all that. And then the loop is actually that continuous flow that where the action actually happens. So this is what we currently have on it, and then it's actually as you can see blinking. And if you want to change this, you need the reference that I shared. All right, you can see the LED pin, which is an output, which is defined on it. What's the extra slot besides the USB Type C 4? Yes, let's bring this back again so that let's see. What is the extra slot behind the USB Type C? Okay, so this is what you mean. Yeah, those are the multifunctional groove connectors, all right, that I mentioned. So if we switch back to the bench fully to see, so this is it. So the USB Type C, all right, the USB Type C here this is how we connect to the computer, to upload and power it as of now. Then this is the multifunctional groove connectors here. That's what you're seeing. Let me actually move this here so you can see it properly. So this is it. So they allow you to connect external sensors. I don't know if this answers it for you, Maxwell. But you know what? Give me a sec. Let me pull this out and show you. Maybe that would make it a lot easier to understand. I have I wasn't planning to go into that, but since you asked, I think it just makes sense to pull one out and then show you. So just give me a sec. I will pull that up and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back. All right, so um, just to further explain, so Maxwell's question was, what was those? What is the extra um, port here for? And I'm saying that those are the groove multipurpose groove extensions. So I have with me some groove connectors. I'm putting them here so that I can share. I can better explain that to you. All right. Yeah, I guess we have. Yeah, I guess we have enough, to explain. All right. So this here. So what you're seeing here, these are various. Let me move this here for the meantime. So these are various groove sensors. All right. These are various groove sensors. This one here is a motion sensor. This one here is a buzzer. This is just I think it's an RGB light. Here is a soil moisture sensor. This is actually a GPS sensor or module. This is not a sensor, it's a module. This is a relay. So you realize that these are just regular sensors. However, Groove makes it easy. So for instance, you see this, all I have to do is just to connect this groove here. Just connect the JTAG cable, all right? And then I can connect it to any groove compatible stuff. Now, what this prevents is I don't need to use a breadboard and then look for jumper cables or wires and be connecting pins here. But the groove JTAG allows me to do it seamlessly. So this is what I was saying here. You see this? So this extra slot here allows me to just connect. There you go. So allows me to connect this. Do you see it? So now I have connected a relay to the Wio terminal. Yeah, sure. Yeah. What I can once we connect that, I can share the code. Welcome, Ron, for joining again. So you see, so now I have connected the relay. So if I want to use this Wio terminal to do some project that actually uses a relay to control an external, thing, like what I have here. If I swing by here, you see that now. If you look here, I have I think it's an H channel relay here. But this I'm connecting via jumper cables onto the breadboard. All right. But with the JTAG or the groove kit or shield, you see this? All I need to do is use the JTAG cable and connect it. So this allows me to connect externally two external sensors or modules. All right. So that's what that slot is for. I mean, sorry to go a bit off because, like I mentioned, next week's episode we're going to see how to connect these sensors and then read them from the Wio Terminal. But today it's more of how to. Yeah, this is also a dust and particle sensor as well that you can connect. So sorry for that. I just wanted to better explain explain to Maxwell, so there's that understanding. All right. So Maxwell, I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll try my best to further explain it. All right. Okay. So once we have this out of the way, let's get this here. All right. So last week, if you remember, what we did, we installed the library and then we just ran this basic Blink code here. All right. So if you want to set it up or if you want to know how to do that, please go subscribe to the channel and go check out last week's episode. It's all there. Now, one thing which is the key, all right, to the entire screen. Well, okay, welcome, Maxwell, to the LCD of the Wio Terminal is to understand certain concept. Now, the library we installed for the Wio Terminal last week also includes the Adafruit Zero DNA library. All right. Now, this allows you to actually make use of, the LCD and all the other stuff with it. So, if you go to Sketch, all right, and then you go to Include Library, and then you go to Manage Library, all right, this should pop up. Where is that? Okay, yeah. So this will pop this managed library for us. If you tried searching, all right, for Adafruit, if you do, or the Adafruit, considering where you're coming from, and then let's say the Adafruit Zero Zero DMA. All right, there you go. Right. So we have the Adafruit Zero DMA library. All right. Now we need to install this. This is what gives us extra functionality for the LCD. All right. So what we can do is that we can just install it. Let's do this. Let's install that. So this has a lot of wrapper for us to use. So I'll just go ahead and install this one. And this was going to give us some extra functionality, to use. Now, this should have been installed as part of the initial. I think we skipped it, but this is how you install the library. So remember, you need to install the Adafruit Zero DMA library. All right. And then once this is installed, that gives you all the information, like all the wrappers and libraries you need to actually utilize the LCD or the screen to do stuff you want to do. Okay. So now the LCD, the screen itself, okay, it's actually what do you call it? It's a TFT LCD. All right, it's a TLT LCD with a dimension of 320 pixels by 240, and I'll explain that in a bit. So 320 by 240. All right, by pixels. Now a couple of things you need to understand. We can close this. Actually, let's bring this from the own side. Now, if you've worked with a graph paper before, all right, the concept of how pixels are drawn on the screen is the same concept of graphs, all right, where you have the x and y planes, all right, and then it begins from an x and y position. If you're looking to place something on the screen, it has to start from a set of x and y coordinates to another place. So let me bring this here and explain this to you. Let me know if this is big enough. All right. So it uses like I said, the 2D image pixel coordinate system. So this is like a graph paper. All right. So you have your x-axis and your y-axis, and the 0 point is at the top left. All right. So if you want to put something on the screen, this is how it works. This is the coordinate. That's what I'm saying, that the dimension of this one is 320. So the x, as you're seeing 0 here, so it's 0 all the way to 320 pixels. And then this side, or the height of it, or the y, is all the way from 0 to 240 vertically in terms of pixels. So if you want to draw something on the screen, you need to first determine the position or where you want that thing to be drawn to start from, or wait, and then once you put in the x and y coordinate, that object can start from there. Now, a very good practice is I like to visualize what I'm doing. It allows me to know kind of like give me a visual representation of what I'm doing. So what you can do is that you can actually use a graph paper to sketch. So you might see a lot of UIs, okay, interesting UI. So let's see if I can just demonstrate this. And don't worry if my drawing is is not too cool, please forgive me. So let's assume this is a graph. Okay, this is a graph paper. All right, and then using the same concept, let's move this somewhere here, and then let's go to 90, and let me put it right here, and then let's draw a line. Actually, let me do this. And then now let's go to 0, bring this here. All right, actually let me do it this way, since we are going to be using this reference point. All right, so and then let's draw this line. All right, let's do back 90. I just want to extend this a bit so that yeah, and then we can get rid of this. All right, so having this at the back of your mind, so we're saying that, okay, for our Wio Terminal screen, we're saying it is 320 horizontally and then 240 vertically. So if you're starting, so here, this is our x, right? And then this would be our what? Y. And all the zeros start from this point. So this would be 0 all the way. So assuming that this little dots or are pixels all the way to somewhere here, hypothetically, this will give us 320. All right. And then this one all the way here, let's say this gives us the 240. Don't mind my my drawing. All right. Okay, so this means that if I wanted to draw anything, and don't forget it's 0 from here, so it's moving in this direction. All right, and then also the y also moves this way. So I say this is how you read the pixels. All right, so if let's say I want to draw a UI or I want to start writing anything, I need to determine where it starts. Now the corner here where x and y meet, where is your 0 0. So if you wanted to if you wanted to tell this screen, I want you to write something, it will start from a point like x0 y0. All right, that's the corner here. If you wanted something to be somewhere here, all right, so let's say if this point is, let's say, 100, and let's say this is, well, it's just hypothetical, don't take it seriously, unless it is 100. All right, then this is going to be 100 what, 100. So this point. All right, now with this in mind, okay, if let's say let's do this. Now, if let's say I want to draw a UI or do anything, all right, let's say a UI something like where I have let's say a rectangle somewhere here, okay, and then let's say another rectangle somewhere here, right? And I wanted to draw these two. So you realize that if we should say that this side, let's say this side is like 10, right? And then from here, let's say this is also 10. So the starting point for this rectangle here will be what? Will be 10, 10. And then so you can say from this point, I want you to draw a rectangle with a specified dimension, which we will see like today. So I just want you to understand, the system or the coordinate system or the 2D system that it uses, so that you better appreciate and understand how these things function. All right. So let's throw this away. Yeah, so it uses this coordinate. Now, it also functions within the 8-bit and 16-bit color module, and also has three color components. So the red, green, and blue component. All right, so you can see the 8-bit color, you have 765. So that's how you can represent data in this format. All right, all the way. Now, the library also has predefined colors, all right, like TFG light blue, TFG orange. You need to keep this as a cheat sheet somewhere. So if you want to actually how do you call it, change the colors of something on your screen, you can use these colors. I'll also show you how to custom create your colors. So far as you know the RGB values, the red, green, and blue values, you can create your own color space. All right. So to get started, let's go here. Quite simple. So let's go ahead and create a new sketch. Open this up. All right. So to do this, like always, you need to set up. Your the libraries for working with the LCD, and then you can set up, and then you can go to your loop. All right. So in setting up, let's keep it plain so that we don't have anything confusing. We have our base set up there, our void, our setup, and our loop. So the first thing we're going to do, let's do our TFT. No, sorry, let's go up here. Let's bring it in. Let's bring the TFT library so we know we are using it. So if you're familiar with C, so let's include, let's go ahead and include our TFT underscore ESP1, ESPI dot H. So we're including this library that allows us to work, all right, to work with the LCD. Then we are initializing a variable called TFT, and it could be anything, all right. It could be anything, but we are initializing a variable of type TFT ESPI, and then we are just giving it a name TFT. We can call it screen, we can call it anything we want, but this is just representing our screen, all right. So we have this. Now, once this variable is declared, now to set it up, okay, there are a lot of things you can do, all right, to set it up. But basically, what you want to do is, first of all, you need to begin. You need to tell it that, okay, I want to start using the TFT, all right. And to do that, because we have our variable here TFT, you do the TFT dot begin, right? This tells us that I'm ready to use it. Now you need to set the rotation. I think the rotation, um, uh, the screen rotation is from 0 to 3. So you can have 0, 1, 2, or 3. That's just a screen rotation. I think 3. So 3, yes, we'll use 3 for the default to keep it to the horizontal look. So I go ahead. The next thing I do is TFT dot set rotation, all right, and then we use 3, and we can experiment with 1, 2, and 0, 1, 2, and 3 to see all these changes. That'll be something that I'll leave you to go mess around with, and just play around. Now, once that is done, okay, you can decide to do a lot of things. For instance, currently, if you go to the bench, you realize that the LCD, the screen is dark. All right. Something you can do is just to turn it on. So let's say TFT. Well, we can use the guitar, right? Because we can write digitally to it. So let's do. I can do digital right, and then we can do LCD back. LCD backlight, and turn it high. Let me actually save this. Let's create a new folder and call it basic. Okay, let's give this name basic. All right, let's upload this and see what happens. So if you look down here, the right, bottom right, you see the green bar, processing, 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 compiling the sketch. And once it's done compiling and uploading, we should see some information down here. Yeah. And yeah, don't forget to bring your quest things. Okay, so not used. Oh, what did I do? It's supposed to be I. There you go. So save this, check this again, and then let's upload it again once it's done. Pam 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 pam. Hello Sam. Could you use Proteus for simulating this? I don't have a kit at the moment. That is a very valid question. I think, hold on, where did I see? There is a yeah, there is a simulator. I'm just trying to remember. Um, Ron, you know what I would do? I would look for that. I would look into that and then share with you. But I'm not sure if it's on Pro Tools. I'm not sure, but I know there is a simulator somewhere. All right, let's upload this. But yeah, let's look into that and then maybe share that over the weekend. Sorry, over the week, so we can also, yeah, I know, cause now you don't have the kit. You want to get your hands dirty. Yes, you can do that. So yep. So now I'm going to switch to the bench, and you see what's happened. Now you realize that the backlight is on. I didn't do anything. That's just because all I did, um, all I did was to turn it on, right? If we go back to here, all I said was, if you look at line 7, I said turn the backlight on, all right? And the backlight is on. I can do pretty much anything I want to. Now, depending, I don't know if I could download the libraries for it. You can. The libraries are actually open source. They are on the. If you go to the wiki, actually, let me give you the wiki. Let me paste this here. So if you go here, you will see links to all the resources and libraries that they made use of. All right. So yeah, you can go check that out. All right. So that's basically what we've just done, is to how do you call it? Yeah, is to just put the backlight on. So if we go back to the bench, you can see we have the backlight on. All right, just because we only use the code to turn the backlight on. Cool. Now let's go back to it. Now we don't want to turn the backlight on. We want to see how we can change. Okay, we can actually change the color of the background. All right, not the backlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this for now. We'll come back to it. So for now, I'm just saying begin, set the rotation, and then in my loop. All right. And another thing you can do is that um, you can actually change the color or the control pane for the backlight and make use of it, okay, and fill it with um, any of the colors. But let me show you how to change the color of the background. Okay, very simple. That we can move to trying to write stuff on it. So to do that, we've seen TFT set rotation and all that. So if we do this now, all you need to do is what TFT dot, you do something called fill screen. All right, you do fill screen, and then in fill screen you remember the color, the cheat sheet I told you about. Let's bring the cheat sheet here. You see this cheat sheet? TFT navy, TFT black, these colors. All right, you can use any of this. So I'm going to cheat and use one of them. So we're going to fill it with TFT underscore red. All right, and with this, all I'm saying is that um, I'm turning the background, or the color of the screen, to red. All right. So let's save this and then try to deploy this. And once this is done, we would be able, there we go. And yeah, it has its own way of doing stuff. Now, if we go back to the bench, do you see what's happened? It's changed it to what? To red. Okay. It's changed. Yeah, it's red, but because of the lights I have, there's a couple of diffusion. There's a some diffusion going on. So you might see it a bit down, but it's changed it to red. All right. So that's how to do it. Now remember, I said that if you don't want to use where is that? If you don't want to use this TFT, those predefined colors, all right, you can create your own colors. Yes, you can create your own colors. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Let's do that. Let me show you how to do that. So you can use, it's a simple, it's a nifty, very, very nifty, how do you call it? Um, Little piece of uh, like function, helper function that helps you to do that. I'll show you that. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Let's see. Where did I keep that function? I kept it here. So if we go back to let's bring this in view so you can see it. So now check this out. Instead of fill screen and using the default red, all right, I can use something like this. Okay, we can use TFT color 565 and then RGB where it is red, blue, and green from 0 to 255. So if I want to use green, I can set this to 0. Actually, let's do blue and then set this to 255. All right, and then yeah, save this and try to deploy this again. And this should change our screen from the current you change it from the current red to blue, right? Because of that RGB value. Oh, what just happened? Oh, I didn't bring the. So let me show you this. I didn't add the ending semicolon, so it was screaming at me. So let's do this. That's why. Don't worry. Don't be like me. Alright. Always like compile before you run. All right. So this, let me show you this. Zoom it. So Control 1, see this? Woo, that's too much zoom. Yeah, right here. So you can you can always, all right, try to use this. Okay, use this to check and compile your code before you hit this one. All right, before you hit the upload. Is that okay? So don't be like me. Cool. All right, so that's done. Let me just actually get rid of this. Let's save. And then since I only set a good precedent, let's do this so that I'll set a very good example for you guys, and then we can take it from there. Now, if you want to actually, now let's change this so that we can actually see that. So now let's upload it. Now, once the upload is done, this is going to change from red to blue because that's what we want it to do. Okay, we have like 10 minutes. Cool. I'll introduce you to all the other and then we start and boop, there you go. It's actually blue. It's just because of the extra light, so there's a lot of diffusion. And the same thing, all right? If we want to see this, let's do 255. So now let's do something. Let's do an exotic color. So if I go to color.com, all right, I'm just trying to look for no, let's do this. I think it's Adobe Color. Yeah, let's say, yep, there you go. So let's say I have some some cool color I want to use. All right, we don't need this, right? So if I select, let's say I want this color. Let's see, something, you know, something in this, in the areas of this. So you see the RGB values here. So if you look closely, you see the RGB values here, right? From this side. So let me just make a note somewhere. So that's so 239 722 240. All right, let's try this. So if we, let me move this here so I can copy this in here. So the R says is what, 239, the G says is 722, and then the B is 240. Save this. Let's save this, and then let's push this. So now with this, when this is pushed, we should have our background looking like looking something like this particular color, this one. All right, so I think that just happened. Yeah, yep, and then we got that sorted out. All right, so now let's move, let's see how we can at least write onto the, okay, onto this, how do you call it, right onto the terminal, okay, the screens. We have just a few minutes left, which is what I wanted to show, and then I'll introduce you to the various methods you can use to draw different shapes aside text, and then you can take it from there, and then next week we can actually connect some sensors and read data from that. So to do that, and also, yeah, if you want to control the backlight, right, let me actually copy the link to a repo, which is actually was uh, presented by Kenta Ida. I'm actually contributed some code that you can use to help you control the brightness and the brightness of the screen, whether you want to dim it or you want to make it high. You can look at the code base there and then use that to control it. Okay, so let's take a look at how quickly. Let's take a look at how do we write stuff, okay, draw stuff right on the, how do you call it, on the screen. All right, understanding how you want to position, understanding how you need to specify your starting point and then the dimensions you want. All right, so let's do this quickly. I have my script here for the purpose of this so that we can go quickly. So let's do this. Let's draw something. All right. So the same thing, nothing crazy. Now, if you want to start to use the font, we need to also include the second, to write on the screen. We need to include a second library. So let's include, and this one is the free underscore. Let's see. Do we have to? I'm just thinking whether we should just use this, or you know what? Um, let's just keep to the default. Let's just use the default one first, and then we can add this to it. So let's just leave it. Let's use the default font. So the same thing. You set it up. You begin. You set the rotation, and then you can. In this case, let's use the TFT. Let's fill screen. Okay, and then let's use a TFT underscore black. So if you remember, we are just setting the screen background to black because we want to start writing on the screen. So and it doesn't mean it has to be black. Your background can be any color you want, and then your foreground can be something else. All right. So we can actually start. It's quite simple. All right. We can actually start by doing something like TFT. Now take notice of the method. All right, so TFT, you have what, draw string. Okay, draw string, And then you can go ahead and what do you want to draw? Let's say hello world. Now, after you have done that, you need to specify where is your starting point. You remember the X and Y, right? X, at what point on the screen should this be written? So if you're starting from here, I want you to start from here and start from there. Let's say hypothetically, let's use something like 70 and then what? 80. So close this and make sure that's done. All right. Now you can actually also set font styles and all that you want. But for now, I just want to give you the basics. All right. So you know how to do some of these things. So I can say I want to draw hello world here. Let's go ahead and push this. And let's wait for that to happen. Okay. And it's a bit small, but let's go here. Let me go to the bench and show you. Hopefully you can see that. Now check this out. No, that's too much light. No, let's do it this way. Hold on. Let me bring my fingers here. I'll try to focus on my finger and then. Oh. Okay, hold on. Let's do this. So you should see. Yeah, there you go. You see, hello world is written. And starting from the position that I told it to, the X or the horizontal and the Y, which is what? The vertical. All right. That's where I told you to start from. If I had said 0, 0, it will go to the top left because that's where 0, 0 is. All right. So now I've simply written hello world there. Now we can decide to take it a step further. All right. And then maybe set the text size. All right, so let's do this. Let's go back here, and then before we draw, all right, because it's small, I want to, so we'll do tft dot, this is what we're going to do. All right, you can say set text what size, and then, well, let's make this a 2. Okay, and this makes it big. All right, so let's deploy this again and quickly see. And let me switch back here so that when it comes, you can actually see that change. So that's loading. Now that's much more like it. Do you see that? So now hello world is now what? Much bigger. You see that the hello world is now much bigger. I need to figure a way to get the lighting low so you can see it. All right. So that's like a big, yeah, there you go, hello world. It's much bigger than the first one that we wrote because I set the text size. All right, so that's just, now that we can go further, all right, and say that, hey, something, let me bring this here, something, for the text itself, I also want to set the color, so I can do tft dot, you do set text color. All right, and then you can use the cheat tft, let's say underscore red. Save this and let's deploy. And let me switch here so that you can actually see it load and unload. So it's gone off, it's deploying. There you go. Now you see that the hello world is now what? Red. All right. So that is how you actually use how do you call it? The screen. All right. Set the background color of the screen and then also write to the screen. Now today we only saw like strings, but there's a lot more you can do with it. All right. There's a lot more you can do with it. You can alternate the screen. You can change stuff, right? Now I'm going to show you, does the code need to be in the void setup block? No. So Ron, it doesn't have to be in it. This can actually be in the loop. All right. But because it's just a setup, that's what I mean. So the setup just simply means when the screen comes up, this is what you want. Maybe if I can move the whole of this, setting it to red and the text size and everything into the loop. All right, but this is going to happen all over again, and there's no change. There's no change to this data as of now. That is why I'm keeping it in the setup. I hope that answers your question. Right now, you can draw a lot of things. All right, from drawing characters to drawing like lines, rectangles. So you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to change. Um, let's do this. Yeah. I think we started a few minutes late, so today, pardon me, I will go extra like 10 minutes, and I will call it a day. So I'm going to change where this actually starts from. So 10:10. All right, and then the other thing I'm going to do is let's start by drawing some things. All right, just drawing pixels. All right, so let's see if I want to draw. Well, a pixel is just a dot. We might not see that. So, but I'll show you. I'll mention the command. Okay, let me just type some of the commands here. Or pretty much. Let's see if we can make it a lot interesting. Okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna just comment and show you the various methods, but then we can implement it anyhow we want. So the first of it is draw line. Okay, so this is the command draw line, and then it takes the x, y, okay, the starting position and the ending position. So if where is that my let's come back to our sketch part so that we can quickly. So it takes the x of the starting position, the y of the starting position, the x of the end position, the y of the end position, and then the color. All right. So remember this. If we are still sticking to this graph, if I want to draw a line, all right, the line might start from here and then all the way to this side, and this line is blue. So this is a starting position. So I need what? X0 and then what? Y0. So this is the first two coordinates. That tells me where to start from. And then the next coordinate will be what? Y1 and then what? So X1 and then what? Y1. This is telling me the end, where the circle should end. All right. And then it's now the last option is the color. What color should I draw the circle in? Sorry, this line in. All right. So let's do that. Let's come back to our code. So to do that, so now let's see. I'm going to do this in here so that you see that you can actually do it anywhere. Just that when you put it in the loop, there's going to be a refresh. All right. Anytime that the same thing is going to happen. That's why I didn't want to put it there, but I can put it there and then show you how you want to do it. So let's do this. So let's do tft dot draw line. All right, and then based on since we have our hello world starting from 10:10, let's go to start from 30. So again, and that's why I'm saying that I like to visualize things. So if you're in doubt, let's look at it from it. Let's assume our hello world is here. All right, let's assume our hello world is here. All right, so now, so the x will be the y. No, sorry, the x is going to be the same because we want to start at this x position. All right, but the y will be different. All right, so let's go back. So yeah, you can use a paper to help you, a graph paper to help you to visualize this and do this the way you want. So I can say start from x this way. All right, still start from here, but the Y, you probably need to go a bit further. All right, so let's say 30. All right, let's do 30, and then I want this to go all the way to like 50. All right, so go 50, and then yeah, just about the same Y position. Okay, so this is the step, and then what color do I want it? So let's use TFT underscore blue. All right, or let's use the same thing. Let's use red, so there you go. Let's save this and then push this to it. So all we've said is we're drawing a line that starts from 10:30 and ends at 50:30, and then it's going to be in red. Okay, let me flip this so you can see it's a bit small, but you can see that there is an underline. If you look closely, it looks like an underline, right? It looks like an underline under the hello, right? That is a line. Okay, we can actually take it. It means that I can actually even move it, further. So you know what? Let me do 100. And don't forget, remember that it is 320 by 240. So you can't go beyond the dimensions of the screen. All right. So what I have done right now is I've just increased the ending part of the line, and now you should see that there you go. You see that the line is gone way beyond the hello world. All right. So that's how to also draw a line, and you see that it's pretty much, I put it in a loop and it still works, but just that this is repeating all the time. It's not that healthy. That's why at this point, because there's no change, that's why we're doing this. Well, you can decide to make it interesting, all right, by setting, maybe you can set like a delay and then change it to something else. So that is how to draw a line. The next thing is, if you want to draw like a rectangle, okay, there are two things you need to use. Let's go ahead. Let me do this. The same thing. TFT dot. In this case, you do draw rect. All right. And if you look at the coordinate for the rectangle, the same thing. You need to have the x, the y, the width, and the height. So start from this location. I want it to be. So let's say now we can still start from the x position, but now we need to go down. So let's say go to 50. All right. So this is the x, y, and then what is the width of the circle? Sorry, what's the width of the rectangle? Forgive me. So I want the width of the rectangle to be like 150 pixels, and then what is the height? All right. And let's say I want it to be about 30 pixels. Okay. Now what is the stroke? And I want this to say TFT. I also want this to be red. All right. So this draws a line and then draws what? A rectangle. Then you can use something called fill rect. All right. So you can use something like fill rect. So I can do something like TFT dot fill. Let's do this. Fill rect. Right. And then almost like the same thing. Where am I filling it? So you can actually use the same coordinates for it, because that's where it's going to start from. All right. So 150, fill it. 30, and then this time around I want you to fill it with TFT. Let's say blue. Right. So let's save this and deploy. We have 1 minute, and then we'll call it a day. So let's add this. So your homework today is for you to go now. Do you see that? So now I have a rectangle that is filled with blue underneath it. Now there's the same thing for drawing circles. So for circle, it will be draw circle, and then if you want to fill the circle, it will be fill circle. For there's also triangles. You can do draw triangle, all right. And then there's also like you can do stuff like if you wanted to do like a rounded rectangle, you can do draw rect, all right. And then the same thing you can fill rect. And then we've seen how to use the text. So these are the various methods you can use to write things on the screen, to alter the color of the background of the screen and stuff like that. So that's how to do the basic interactions with the screen. For oh I was deliberate. Sorry Maxwell, I put that there so that you could see it. So that's how you those are the various. Oh, you didn't see the code. Oh really? Let's see. Let's go back here. So I was saying that to draw a line, you use a draw line. To draw the rectangle, you use a draw rect, and then you can use a fill rect to fill the rectangle. All right. Then you can also use in terms of circle. All right. So I said in terms of circle, you can use draw circle, right? So I'm just going to list them so you can see it. So you can use draw circle and then fill circle. All right, you can use that. And don't forget, it's all like TFT dot. So TFT dot. I'm just omitting the TFT just to illustrate. So let's do this. So this is for circle. All right, and then for what do we call it? For triangles. All right, triangles. You can use, so for triangles, there you go. You can use the same thing as draw triangle. All right, and then undo, draw triangle, and then you can also use the fill triangle. All right, and there is also you can do the, how do you call it, the rounded rectangle. All right, so that would be draw a round rectangle, and then if you want to fill it, you can use the fill rectangle. All right, yeah, and then you can also do an if you want to, not a regular circle, you can actually use the ellipse. All right, so let me put that under the circle. So you can also use draw ellipse, and then again fill ellipse. Now your homework would be to figure out the parameters. If you remember the stuff for drawing, I've actually shown you how to draw the line and the rectangle. So x, y, the starting point, the width and the height. Then the same thing if you're looking at a circle, you have the x and y, which is the origin, and then the radius of the circle and the color. All right. So for instance, the circle, I'll say that I'm starting from x and y. All right. What's the radius of the circle, and then the color? Is that okay? That will be how you draw a circle. So for the rest, that would be your homework. With 3 minutes over time, thank you for another episode, sharing your time and your resources with me. I hope you go try it out. If you have any questions, reach out to me on any of my social media handles. Don't forget, there is a mystery object on the shelf. And today's code, and I said tweet at me so that's my Twitter at @SAdren. You can see my Twitter out here. And then hashtag IoT Tuesday. Hashtag IoT Tuesday. The code is 0007. So 007. Now use that code, tweet at me, and tell me what was that mystery object you saw on the shelf. And I'll send you a surprise kit. So with that said, it's my wish, we stay safe, we learn new things, we make the world a better place. Until I come your way again next week with another episode of IoT Tuesday, be safe, be kind, be good, and stay safe. And thank you all for joining. Maxwell, Don, Ron, all the other people joining and watching who don't want to mention or don't want to say hi. Thank you very much for your time. Let's do this again another time next week. So next week I'm going to share with you how to access the sensors on the Wio terminal, and then also how to connect an external sensor and read. We didn't hear the code. Okay, the code. Oh yeah, and then we have node 2 here. I see the silent watches. Sorry. So the code is 007 007. Don't worry. Next week, what's going to happen is I'm going to do some graphics and animation to put the code there. So the code will come actually no here. Yes, the code will be here in that space. Here, right here on the board. The code will be there. But the code is 007. So tweet at me so first of all, hashtag IoT Tuesday. The code is 007. And then tell me that mystery object you saw on the shelf relating to the show. All right. So thank you guys so much. So make a note with me next week. We're going to connect the sensors and connect it, read the data, and then draw that information on the screen. So we're going to get the sensor values and in real time draw it on the screen so we know. And we'll try to do probably some small graphics and stuff for us to learn. Well, with that said, stay safe, be good, and adios.